I think the biggest culture right now that we can talk about is the 16 days of activism. I think my thoughts, just to start off, bro, I don't know. Look, it's a great initiative, right? Start off there. It's a good thing that we need to raise awareness. Okay, people are being abused, predominantly women and children. That's a fact. Okay, I agree when people say men are trash on that regard. We definitely are trash because we are the perpetrators. We are the predominant ones who are abusing women and children.
This harm.
Sure. Some people may say, but men also get abused. I'm not disagreeing, but it's predominantly women who are suffering, not men.
Sure.
So, but I understand it's gender-based violence, and it's more of everyone who's being abused, whatever your sexuality is, whether you are minor or not. The fact is, 60 days of activism is there to make people, regular people like you and I be aware of it and take notice. But I think it shouldn't end with just 16 days. It should be at 365 days. I'm sure everybody's always saying
all
that.
the time.
But I think my thoughts on it is that it's not doing what it's supposed to, though.
Yes.
And when I say that, I mean in education, as in, okay, if men are the one predominantly the abusers, what are you doing to reach out to men and make them better and not be abusers anymore? Because the messaging, if you look at it from my view, the messaging is more geared towards dudes. You are shit.
You're trash.
You're trash. You're trash. Yeah. How dare you? You're trash. I don't see any education. I don't see any understanding whereby, okay, let's get into the mind of a man, of an average Joe, and try to make him understand that being an abusive prick, or being abusive, or having those tendencies that lead to you being an abuser, be conscious of it and don't do it. That I don't see that kind of message. I don't see that initiative happening. I don't see it that often, and that's what saddens me. It's more focused on, like you say, men are trash, and we seen as the enemy, and we need to be ashamed of being men. I feel that's how I feel when I see all these messaging and these talks about it. I feel like I should be shameful that I'm a man. I didn't choose to be a man, bro. I was born.
It's what happens. The culture of death.
I'm one of those people who identify as a man and grew up as from a boy to a man. And as far as I'm concerned, that's just my life, right? So I feel like I should be ashamed now being a dude, because the messaging that comes out to these, and again, just to emphasize, these are great initiatives. It's just that the messaging, though, the way it's going about it, man, I end up not giving a damn about 16 days of acts, because I'm like, okay, another woman's getting abused. What's new?
What do you do? Because, just like you're saying, when you think that's the thought that comes to you when you think 16 days of activism, for me it's more around the activism part. Like, what are you doing to push this message? And that's why I agree with you on the message about the education and what actionable steps are happening as a result of that. Another thing that I start to think about, with us monitoring the world and all of its broken systems, there's always somebody who's benefiting from this thing. No matter what is happening in the world, good or bad, there's somebody whose pockets are getting lined, bro.
Good point.
There's money in this. So you're choosing a specific time of year to do something that might not be fully known to the masses, but that's your time. Like, there's a company that's pushing a campaign right now. We don't even know about it because, like you're saying, the reach, we don't know if they're even utilizing social media to that extent, or whatever kind of approach that they have to kind of garner or achieve whatever outcome that they're hoping to achieve. So like you're saying, if the goal is reduce or eliminate all kind of violence, okay, what do you do to actually achieve that? And I'm not to say I have the answer, you have the answer. Obviously we'll discuss it and see what there is about it, but it's to say, whatever that action is, why does it feel the same over time and that it's actually not changing or doing anything? Because if that action, it was like it's like, you know how Uber does, like you disrupt an industry. It's like you do something that like is unavoidable, that you know you're a contender, you're a player. So what action is it that they've done that's so disruptive that it actually, like, you know, cut through the noise? It actually made an impact or the difference that it was for. Hence activism. It's not active. You know?
I agree.
It's the opposite, bro.
And
it's deactive.
And what you're saying actually about the benefit of somebody's benefiting.
Always, bro.
Look. It's a great initiative, but at the end of the day, because it's not doing anything, because it's not changing anything, who is benefiting? And that's where I'm looking. That's the angle I'm looking at it. The way you're suggesting now is if the messaging is to demean men, who's benefiting out of that? And to make women victims, because I believe in. Look, I'm a feminist, bro. I'll tell you I'm a feminist. I'll tell you why I'm a feminist. Feminism, as far as I know, is about equality, right? Women need to be treated the same as men, and women need to be given the same opportunities as men, and women need to feel the same way that whatever man gets, a woman should get too. I believe in that. To me, that is feminism, and I believe in that, and for that, I am a feminist, right? So I believe women are just as strong mentally. They may not be as strong with men physically, but mentally and emotionally. And I believe women are superior to men emotionally, right? Because of the whole nurture part of the genealogy and how women are made up, or female is made up. Mm-hmm. So because of that, women are emotionally strong and all that. I don't think women are victims all the time, and women can fight back, and women can do. So that's my belief, right? Based on that aspect, I then look at the messaging. I'm like, why are you always perpetuating women as if they're always the victim, as if there's nothing they can do? There's a lot of women can do, right? She can fight back. There's ways. For example, if you look at a woman who's been abused for years, the courage it takes for her to come out, that is something that's an action that shows strength in her to come out and say, listen, I've been abused for years, I'm fighting back now. That, to me, that should be highlighted and praised more, to encourage other women who are feeling it. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, there's another woman who was abused for years and oh my gosh, her husband killed her. You're literally making those other women in that same situation thinking, oh snap, I can't, I need to stick with the abuser now. Because if I leave, I might die. Because the news, every time the news is showing me another woman who's killed by her boyfriend or her husband because she tried to leave him because he was abusive. So I cannot, you know what I mean?
I'm trapped. That's my fate. I get it. I totally get it. It's scary. I'll tell you that. Number one, it's scary because, like you were saying, as a man, you don't want to cause harm. You think of your mother, your sister, your niece, and
cousins.
Yeah, your cousins, and you're thinking anyone who would like do anything to them. Yo, you getting the hammer, bro. Like it's happening. I feel bad for them. I feel sorry for them, and like you're saying, that weakness is not always true. I believe women are powerful. I believe women can stand up. And you know what? When you say enough, it's enough. You remember there was even a movie I think called Enough, where like J-Lo was being beaten up by some dude, and she learned to fight, and she knocked that nigga's socks off. You know? So I'm not saying like, hey, well, yo, woman, don't go out there
and be John Wick now. Don't John Wick.
Yes, because that's what see, man. Oh, you want to be equal who's on shy, and I'm being shy, you know. And
but we're saying like, be smart about it. The approach is you know, you're not physically stronger than your man, but you can be, let's say, intellectually smarter. You could be emotionally better. Therefore, use whatever little advantage you have to try and get away from the situation by. That's your way of fighting back.
And you know, with women especially, I don't know if they even realize this. In fact, all around the world, I feel like the law is like favored towards women. So if she wanted to screw that guy up like on a court level or money level, oh, bruh.
Well, speaking of getting back to it, that's the evil side, because look at the whole Amanda DuPont versus Jub thing. To me, and I really hope Juju goes to court and really actually is not just releasing a press, sending a press statement just for show, just as a threat. I hope he really takes this, because how many men have been falsely accused? We don't know how many men have been falsely accused and lost their job, or almost in prison, or be in prison right now because of a woman's false accusation. We don't know the numbers. We don't know, right? I will give a benefit of a doubt and say it's a small number, but either way, all you need is one fake claim that is famous, like Amanda Dupont right now is trending. If you remember, before it was Lady Zamar.
Yes, I do remember that.
And to me, it pisses me off, because there are real rape victims, or sexual assault victims, women who are being harassed daily, who feel trapped, who really do feel genuinely trapped, and all they need is inspiration to find a way out. And if this is the messaging that's coming out, and then they see people like you and me criticize, it's like, where's the proof? Right? And then look, the reason I'm saying we need proof for men like me is that we know these false accusations. We know people can be, iffy about shit, and can be vengeful, like you're saying. That's the evil side of it, isn't? So for me, how I would approach it and how I would look at it, women, is that I would prefer, if they do fight back, right, bring other people in, right? Tell people, show, look, he hit me. Look, here's my bruises. Boom, take a picture, send it. Help me. I don't know what to do. Find a way. I believe there's a way, right? There's a way. Even if it takes, let's say, for example, you need to bear it out for the next 3 months to build your case. But find an external person to help you build that case and do the communication, whereby you send them the pictures, the voice notes, whatever you can put together to show that this man, in public, he looks like an angel. He looks like the perfect husband, but you don't know how he is behind doors.
This is what he's done.
This is how I'm feeling. And send it to someone and be like, hey, and when you're ready to, okay, and then when that person that you've trusted to give you, to hold on to the information, and then you say to them, I'm ready now, I'm ready. Then that person, I believe, whoever is getting that need for help from that woman, you need to help her, and you need to encourage her to find a way to also say, come out.
Yes, because you know what would be very sad is for a woman to put all of that together, and then at that point in time she's ready, she can see what's okay, yeah, it's high time. She then crumbles under it, like, let's say it's like, oh, she's gonna take me to jail, and then that guy now exerts that thing over her, that power and the dominion over her, and then she crumbles back into a shell. I would really hate that, because like you're saying, we want them to stand up, we want them to come up and actually be that voice that brings other people forward. So, like, for example, even like with an R. Kelly, you're doing this to one person, and then more people come up and they say more things, and it's like, oh, actually, guys, there's a problem here, and they investigate and they find, oh shit, it's true. So it's being allowed to some extent, and that's what the activism part for me is to say, what is still telling them, like, hey, it's okay, could we go as deep as saying, no, African culture, the man is the man, hey, don't look me in my eye, kind of a thing, like, I don't know, is it that thing of which I'm gonna dominate you, this is no voluntary, like, BDSM kind of a thing. It's like, hey, bruh, no manjan, yo,
my word,
my way or the highway.
Yeah.
This food is like 2 degrees too cold. I'ma knock you the fuck out, bro. Wife beater vibes,
Like,
no.
You see. I like what you touched on, and I want to expand a bit on it before we move on to the other chapter, right? Just to say, the whole thing of what makes that man abusive, that is key.
Yes.
If you want to stop abuse, you need to go to the root. What is the root? The abuser, not the abuse. The abuse is now the symptom, is now the result of the issue of the disease, right? So we need to trace it as in the abuser. So what made this abuser the abuser? And then from there, then we can trace as in, okay, for example, and people may disagree, but statistics, I would say the statistics favor me in the sense of the way you look at it. Sure, you may look at it in another way. For example, right? Currently, as of 2 years ago, I think 6 out of 10 newborns do not have a registered father in their birth certificate.
Oh, fam, that's exactly what I was gonna hit on. I was about to say the exact same thing. The father in the home. You know?
Right. Not just any father, right? So what I'm getting at is you have these boys don't have a father around the house, and they're learning how to be men from the streets.
Or from women.
Or from a mother who is overwhelmed. And to be fair to single mothers, they are overwhelmed, right? Because they have to raise this child. They have to be the mother and the father and the breadwinner. They have to be 3 things at once. And I can understand single mothers who are feeling overwhelmed because they won't get them let me teach this boy how to be a man part. They won't, because they have to be 3 other roles, 2 other roles. They have to be the breadwinner and the mother. They are best equipped to be mothers, so they'll be more motherly than fatherly, right? So there's going to be a deficit. Now this young boy, where is he going to get that deficit? He's going to get it from whichever male figure that he admires.
Or looks up to him.
Right? TV, whatever. He's more easily susceptible to whatever is trending or whatever is the culture or popular culture at that time.
Yeah.
Right? So think about it like this. Young boy grows up with a single mother, and this mother's doing the best she can to raise this boy. And let's say, for argument's sake, he's the typical, goes to school, graduates school, goes to varsity, and he gets a job. But that development of his and his mother raising at least a person who studied and finished school and everything, the unfortunate part is this young boy, as he was growing up, he used to hang around bad men. Let's say uncles who are not so good. Maybe he had a stepfather. We don't know. You know what I mean? As in, all these men coming in and out of his life, teaching him different things. He's not going to have a proper compass. He's not going to have a proper foundation of what it means to be a man. And if he happens to be easily influenced where he sees that, for example, in the hood, right? You know how it is a hood. There's this mentality of if you don't hit your girl, bruh,
she won't listen.
She won't listen.
No respect. Yeah.
She doesn't respect you. Where's he getting that? From the streets.
Yeah.
It's not from a proper father figure. He's getting it from the streets. And the mother, unfortunately, won't see that because she's too busy trying to provide, bro.
Yeah, doing everything she's trying to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So when that happens, what happens then? That young boy grows up thinking, I need to in the mouth once in a while. And as he grows up, this is reinforced, and this is what he is. Mm-hmm. So where is the root then? You need to get back the mother and the father to be a family again.
Yo, you know what? That's my belief on even just like marriage. Like for me, there's no point in getting married if you're not going to, raise children together. Because like, let's be honest, bro. Like that's the best institution you can, form structure for enhancing a child's growth, so much so that like even some societies, I don't know which one it is, but I know they only allow people to have like one child because they know like you're not trying to create too many children, but also the amount of nurture and care that goes into that, it's you can't even measure it. But the reason why I was saying that I also wanted to like hammer down on that point was to say that father who's present, who's supportive, is teaching the man how to be a man. And what I was also trying to touch on with our culture and how these two tie together is, like we're saying, men at that time, obviously they went through whatever they went through. They were working in mines, they went to war, like basic like hard labor, patriotic type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, they weren't there at home, sometimes not by choice, like some of them, they had to also get the bag, it's not like maybe now where they just abandoned it or whatever. So, some of them had reason, but with them not being there, it's like, how do you know what being a man actually is? True. Like I always felt, even like as a youngin', I felt like, I'm gonna get to a certain age and my dad's gonna like hand over like a book of knowledge. Like it's almost like what's the thing that Bonnie has, the bro code? The bro code. Yeah, it's like that. It's like a book of rules. Like, yo, my son, here you go. I'm handing over this knowledge, because you're thinking like his dad did that for him and his dad did that for him, and you think like, yo, I'm gonna get this profound shit, and
I'm gonna be, and if you are blessed with a good father, you'll be like, I'm gonna be just like my God.
Yes, I look up to him. He's my role model, and that doesn't happen, bro. So I feel like that's the crux of it. Like what we're dealing with now is that these men who are the perpetrators, if we were to even analyze each of them, it was like, at some point he lost his dad, or his dad did something, crushed his dream, or the dad wasn't there for good reason, dad wasn't there for bad reason, whatever it is.
Daddy wasn't there.
This is daddy issues, bro.
We both men and women have daddy issues because, for example,
and they manifest in different ways.
For women to stay with the abuser, that could be another. You could attribute some of those women to have daddy issues because they feel like this man represents a father figure she never had, therefore she will tolerate that abuse. Same way we as young men, like you say.
Yes, like imagine if a little girl or little boy even grew up to seeing their parents fight. And seeing like, when they were young, when I was young, as a child, I saw my parents, they fought and things went okay. But now all these years later, they're still together. So he might just think to himself like, oh shit, like violence is a part of this process.
Beautiful.
What if he thinks that? What if he thinks that? Yeah. And then like, some other families, like the mom and the dad, like, they're those ones like, we don't fight in front of the kids. If there's anything wrong, we're gonna handle it outside.
In the bedroom.
Come back. Yeah.
Close the door.
In fact, just as a side note, I'm against fighting in the bedroom. I also feel like that place is sacred. You don't want to fight there in the place where...
No, you know what? I'll tell you what, right? I was fortunate to have my father and my mother around, right? So I've never seen my parents fight. I've only seen it like twice ever, and you would tell that it was because it was that bad for them. But majority of the time, they always went to the bedroom to talk for whatever. So as growing up, I became like, why do they always go to the bedroom? Why do they always go? They always like, it's in the middle of the day. And now, growing up, you would think maybe they smashing, could be also, or again, like I said, the thing is, you never knew. Because as a child, I have to have that image of my parents. Now, what I would counter to what you're saying is, I prefer not to fight in front of my kids if I'm with their mother and we having a disagreement. Because the thing is, there's this, this whole thing of the mother and the father are the pack leaders for the family, and you are the example for the kids, right? So if they're kids, they need to see you guys as united. Even though you may be fighting and bickering, the thing is, the kids only see you guys as a unit. That's why, for example, parents, because they know, that thing is, my mom and dad won't agree. It's always my mom and dad, because they know the parents are in sync, right? And you can try and manipulate. Let me ask mom, and then she'll always go, okay, go ask your dad, and ask him. You know what I mean?
They align, bro.
Because that's the thing, because they know they're a team in that way, and when they fight, you don't see it. You don't see it. You only see the unity because they're the example, and I think that's the ideal situation in my view. And that's how then you'll have this good understanding of the mother and father are a team, or should I say they're a unit, and I need to be like that with my spouse. And if I don't see them fight, then my mind is thinking they don't fight. So I will not fight with my spouse. I will not hit my woman. I will not abuse my woman. Yes. I will treat her the way that I saw my father treat my mom. Because he treated my mom with every time he's like, mama, get walk. Like he was respectful. Oh, he was complimentary.
That's loving, affection.
That's what I saw when I was growing up. So my mind is thinking that's what a father and a husband is supposed to do, right? Yes. So growing up like that, but when, like you're saying, there's parents who then fight in front of the kids, destructive, swearing, his name. The mother talks bad about the father in front of the kids, or then
it shapes their reality, shapes their perspective. And like you're saying, if you guys are the unit, you guys are the leader, and we see it shaky, then there's the instability. Now you kind of like plant a seed of insecurity in that child, like the thing that you had so much faith in, that you believed in and thought was true and just and not going to fail, it can fail. And then the child starts to realize, oh fuck, the world is real, it's fickle. And I feel like you should learn those things at some point in your life, but not like within that space. We're not within that environment, because that should be, like you're saying, about instilling those good values in these young boys and girls, where they can grow up and actually be like proper people. You know, you don't want to like now date a girl now in this day and age where you're her boyfriend, you're her father, you're her this, you're her that.
You're a therapist.
Yeah, because now you're fulfilling every other role that was kind of
voided from her.
There was a void or an issue for her at some point that she never got to deal with, and she's carrying all of these things, like some guy did this to her and she thinks now you're gonna do the same thing, and it's like, dude, I wasn't there. Like,
true.
Yeah, that's not fair. You know, that's not fair. So I get it, and from a woman's point of view, like if they also saw their mother not doing anything, just like taking it, like, you know, if it was bad, she's just gonna think, fuck, if my mom couldn't escape this, what about me? You know, so I totally see that, because it was like this when I was young, it's like this when I'm older. So you know, when an idea gets like, you know, just gets fueled, bruh, and it's this little spark, now it's a flipping inferno in your mind, and it's almost like a lens that you not see yourself in, but like see life through. Like, guys are fucking evil. These people are gonna hurt me, bruh.
Hence, I don't
know.
Look, I may be against that narrative, but I can understand why there's a general narrative. Women think like men are just trash generally, because they'll say he's trash. Men are trash because they cheat. Men are this because they that, or they're stingy, or they're not romantic enough. You know, there's always a reason, and it's always that inflammatory language used against dudes. So I can understand where it's coming from, because like of what you just said.
Yeah.
But I think we can do better.